My name's Larry, and I've had people want to know how I do my team, so we're going to go ahead and go over that. So, again, it's my AI writing team, how I use the team, and suggestions on how to make your team. So, I call it a bullpen, and what a bullpen is a team of AI voices or personas with clear roles. Your line editor, your beta reader, your alpha reader, your genre checker, style coach, whatever you need. And I'll go over what I have. Instead of juggling one AI for everything, you create a specialist team to give layered feedback. Sorry about the noise in here. Uh, I'm not a professional, um, so where do you put the bullpen? Golly. So I would suggest you put the bullpen in a project. This works in ChatGPT, works in Claude. I'm sure it works in others as well. So these are the files that I have in my project. So I've got the bullpen template role. I've got a merged author voice template. I've taken this quick sheet out. Sorry, I haven't updated the slide. And then I've got my character sheet. So who needs to be in the bullpen? Well, you need to have some core roles that every author is going to need. So you want to start off with a alpha reader, a beta reader, a line editor or polisher, a style and voice coach. For optional, a genre specialist to make sure it feels like either a thriller, romance, fantasy, whatever you're writing. Consistency tracker. Now, this can be used over one chapter or it can be used over multiple chapters just to make sure everything is falling correctly. Subject matter expert, so if you have something you need for military and to make sure that all the fight scenes are correct, the chases, that kind of thing, you would have them. Uh, for your sensitivity reader, I call mine, and I'll show you mine here in a few minutes, but I call mine uh, for the book that I'm working on right now, he is my lore specialist. So the lore specialist that I have, this book is heavy into Cherokee and Lakota Sioux lore, and so I have him as half Cherokee, half Lakota Sioux, and he has been trained by his uh, grandfathers, sitting around the fire hearing the old stories, as well as being trained in the formal education level with Native American history in a college setting. So this is my bullpen. I've got Ricky. He's my development editor. He's big picture. Make sure the pacing is good, plot arcs are good, structure, chapter arrangement, those kinds of things. Transitions. Also have him work on word count. Yvonne is my dialogue doctor. She makes sure that it feels real. So if you have somebody educated in a college setting type thing, they will talk different than somebody who is an eighth grade dropout, uses lots of slang, this kind of thing, that kind of thing. So depending on where they're at in the world, depending on their education level, that's what she checks on. Chuck is my action surgeon. Fights, gunplay, chases, those kinds of things. Make sure there's realism, make sure there's tension and sensory immersion. So if, like I had one scene that I had 4 people going up against 12 people, and when I got done with it, none of the 4 people had any injuries, and he's like, "Whoa, stop, that doesn't fly." So now we go back, we put some injuries in there, we put some realism to it. It makes it sound better. Vivian is an emotional wrangler. She makes sure that not only do people involved in a scene, but they also show their emotions. So if you have somebody that witnesses a car accident, they may feel the tension in their chest. Somebody may pass out, somebody may cry, somebody's just going to jump in there and take care of things, and she makes sure that those emotions are brought out into each scene. Diana is my language technician. Basically, she is what I call my line editor. She looks for words that repeat. We, phrase clean up, just polish, that kind of thing. Gideon takes care of my continuity, logic tracking, scene math, timeline accuracy. Tony, my marketing guy, I don't use him very much, but when I get this book completely done, he's going to tell me, how to make it better, what's going to show up good on, like my marketing information, those kinds of things. Janice is my alpha reader. I've got her. She's a, reads thrillers, 2 books in, 2 days type thing. She just can't get enough of them. You could have her as, or him, depending on how you set your team up, you could have them as a romance reader who happens to be bored and picks up a thriller, or she's a thriller reader that's bored in the doctor's office. You see somebody's left a romance and pick it up and say, okay, what would make her continue reading this? So if you put her in as a thriller reader, she picks up a romance, what's it going to take to get her to read this entire book, and vice versa. Smiling Fox is my lore keeper. Cultural accuracy, ceremonial respect, those kinds of things is where he plays in. Let me shrink this down just a little bit. All right. Laura, my beta reader, I've got her comparing my book to Rollins and Mayberry in pacing and tone, genre alignment. And, so if she says, this chapter just falls completely short of where anything that these 2 authors here would have, you need to make some big adjustments, then she can tell me what adjustments need to be made, and then I make those adjustments and see if it would fall better in line with these. So if you've got somebody in your genre that writes really well, somebody you want to emulate or something like that, you can always say, check my books against Danielle Steele's or C.G. Cooper or William Johnstone or whoever, and then until they can tell you where they would line up in that. Make sure it didn't go too far. Give me just a second. All right, so training the bullpen. So Ricky is my developmental editor. Giving him a name, I've given him a real world role. Giving him a background, 25-year veteran in the thriller genre, former editor in a major publishing house. Things here that he's going to look for. Now, I have found, and I've been told there's different ways to do this, but with ChatGPT, even with Claude, I tell it to give me 1,500 words. It never gives me 1,500 words. It'll give me 800 or 900 words. So I tell it my target is between 2,000 and 2,500. Then I come in with getting close to what I need, what I want for each chapter. So what Ricky checks: plot holes, dragging sections, chapter length and flow, character arcs, how he talks, give him all this information, give him this feedback. So I want what's working in a short summary. I want 3 suggestions that I can make this better. And I want him to give me a rating of 1 to 10 on structure and flow. This is the feedback format for each one of my characters, or my team. What's working, 3 suggestions, and a rating of 1 to 10. Now, you can do this one of 2 ways. You can, once you get the feedback, you can say, I agree with all of these. This makes it better, or, number 1 is completely off, but number 2 and 3 work really well. You can either take and change those yourself, or you can go ahead and tell ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you're using to go ahead and make those changes for you. You can just say, hey, apply these changes to my document and show it to me. And it'll spit out your document with the changes made. Tell them to make it in bold so you can just kind of cruise through there and see where those changes were made. Make sure they read exactly the way you want to. If they do, so, all right, let's go ahead and go to the next person. Or if you want to see the next 3 suggestions that Ricky might make, then run it through Ricky again. And then, as you continue running it through each person, or however many times you need to run it through Ricky, you'll see your ratings increase. Now, Vivian, she's my character and voice immersion. Ensure that every scene feels, a scene feels lived in, thorough, authentic. Maintain character voice consistency. Verify regional dialect, slang. Now, how I got her trained. Real world trauma consultant, emotional realism coach, former therapist. What she looks for. Again, same feedback as with what Ricky had, and the same rating scale. So my chat GPT, and that's one I use mostly. I do use Claude a little bit, but I say, all right, JD, here's my chapter, and I want you to have Ricky check it. Now, if you notice over here on the right, I remind JD not to rewrite for the instructions that he's been given, but to display the suggestions and then us discuss those suggestions. JD then gives the instructions to whoever, whether it be Ricky, to review the chapter, and then JD displays the review, and we tell him, yeah, make the changes, don't make the changes, or make the changes. And if I'm given an idea of, this would sound better if you said Simon's jaw tightened, or it would sound better if you said Simon's stomach did flip-flops or had butterflies, whatever, and not just say, okay, I like the use of the butterflies in suggestion number 1, apply that change along with the other 2 changes, and they'll go ahead and do that. Now, that's pretty well it on the author template, or the bullpen template. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share mine with you. I'll bring it up, I'll show it to you, I will show you how I use everything. But first of all, I want to go into, do you need an author voice template? Basic answer is yes, you do. As your team knows what to look for and AI pulls their information, the voice template tells your AI what to look for in how you write. Now I'm going to go through mine. Don't worry about stopping the video and looking and copying it. You'll have an opportunity to get a copy of all of my documents that I use here. So a little about me. My writing blends cinematic pacing and poetic minimalism. I prioritize atmosphere, emotional tone, and character-driven detail. Sentence structure and rhythm. Most of my sentences are 2 to 5 words for short ones, and 16 to 15 words with an average of 10. I use triplets for poetic rhythm, night creatures, the river's current, the whispering leaves. Now I know a lot of people say, oh, those are some of the same things that people check for on AI. Well, that's fine, but that's how I write even before I started using AI. I want my paragraphs to be cinematic. I want single, emotional, or visual beats. Vocabulary and word choice moderate to advanced, but always grounded and natural. Avoids ornate and overly abstract language. Clean and elevated. So with my level being moderate, that's like high school, senior, college level. I don't want to sound like a PhD has written this. I want it to be where anybody can read it and understand it. Sometimes I do use repetition sparingly for rhythm or emphasis. Feels like the land says something to us every day. POV is deep third person, always grounded in a character's emotion and setting. Here's some examples. Frank led, his steps were sure, the land bloomed. I tell it to avoid these in my voice. Overuse of M dashes, semicolons, or exclamation marks. Try not to use a lot of dialogue tags like he exclaimed, she interjected. Don't tell the emotion, but show the emotion. Don't do a lot of head hopping from one to the other, and people will tell you I do that anyway, whether I've got like a lot of characters in my book. Avoid sarcasm, meta humor, that kind of styles. And this is just a summary of everything that we just went through. I also put this on my voice template as well. Again, it's the things I must not have over here in the white and the things I must have over in the blue. So if I've got something over here, like my active voice is a must have, avoid the passive voice. Show, don't tell. Tell heavy narration, so stay away from that. Just go on and on. So to me, these are important. They still get by every once in a while, especially the M dashes. I've got two different characters checking for M dashes, and they still get passed through. Guidelines for internal monologue. So use italics and not quotations or single quotes. All right, so I'll leave the screen up here for just a moment so that you can get this information if you want. And let me fix this one real quick. And I do apologize. All right. So if you're wanting access to all of my files for my writing, team background, responsibilities, writer's voice, my Sandpaper, which I'll show you here shortly. My email address is lburks.writer@gmail.com. You can always visit my website at larryburkswritings.com. And you can follow my author page on Facebook at lburks author page. So once you have all this done, I just want you to build your team. I want you to strengthen your writing, but most of all, I want you to have fun with it. All right, so now I'm going to show you some of these documents that I use. Give me just a second. All right, so here is my bullpen. We've already gone over Ricky and Vivian, but this is the format that it's in. Each one of my bullpen members has got their own section. You notice this here is always the same. Always give them a role, always give them a background. tell them what they're going to check for. And once you have this document, you just upload it into your project. Do that for each one of your documents that we're going to go over today. So again, that is what my bullpen looks like. Now then, this is my voice template. And what you can do is tell ChatGPT or whichever platform you're using to go in and make you a voice template. Tell it you're a thriller writer, a science fiction writer, a romance writer, whatever, and you want to build a voice template that is always followed. And so you can upload, let's say 600 words of a document that you've written, let's say a previous book or a chapter or whatever, and say here is a sample of my writing, and build me a voice template off of that, and to cover your patterns, your preferences, your give you an overview. You know, all you have to do is tell it to put in these things here, and it will build you the template off of it. Tone and perspective, examples of my voice, things to avoid. Now again, I've got M dashes here. I've got in this other thing, avoid M dashes. That's in my voice template twice, and they still get by. I have two different people checking. They still get by. This does not keep you from having to check your data, but it does make it a lot easier because everything is going to flow so much better for you in the way that you want it to flow. And like I said, you can just do this. There's even some prompts in here that I've given you. Rewrite the following passage to match the voice profile below. Here's your rules to follow. Here's how you want your voice to sound. You're going to insert the original passage there and tell it to rewrite it. Here's another prompt. Like I said, just go through here, use them the best you can, the best you think they will work for you. Change whatever you need to. This is just what works for me. All right, and it looks like my other file that I had up here is gone. So let me pull this one last file for you to look at. I call this my Sandpaper document. And it's just a WordPad type thing, if you will. And it's something to remind, and JD is what I call my ChatGPT, but this is just to remind him that I want him to follow these rules when he reviews something of mine. Review the author voice template. Keep the word count within 5%. This is the big one right here. No rewrites. Preserve all scenes, beats, and transitions. And if you've ever used ChatGPT or Claude to edit something, you will I am sure you've noticed that it will take everything and just shrink it way down and pull everything, all the filler words and anything that it doesn't like, and it's going to pull it all out. And instead of having an 8-page chapter, you may have a 2-page chapter because he's pulled out all of this good stuff that you want in there. So this tells him, don't do that. Now, when I built this thing, I was having a conversation with my chat GPT, and I told him, I said, a lot of times we work really well together. I give you something to look at, you look at it, you make sure it's good, and I don't have any problems. Sometimes I give you something to look at, and you just cut it all to pieces. And so you go from Dr. Jekyll, who is fun to work with, to Mr. Hyde, who is just tearing things apart. And that's why this no Mr. Hyde. Stay in the polish mode, no summarizing, no compressing. And then this is just a note here that reminds him to use this checklist at the start of every session. So those are the files that you would have access to, plus the slideshow that I put up here. My bullpen, my author voice, my Sandpaper mode document, and again, the slideshow. If those are things that you want and things you think might be helpful for you to use. Now then, what I'm going to do is run over a document that I've got, show you how all of this works for me in ChatGPT. Now remember, my ChatGPT is named JD. That's just what I like to have him known as. And I always start my conversations with, hey JD, or good morning JD, whatever, because I have noticed if I don't do that, then I get the cold server of ChatGPT, and I may not get the same results that I get with JD if I ask him a question, because in the JD persona, he's learned what I like, what I don't like type thing. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up and show it to you now. Now, again, I am over here in projects. And instead of starting a new project, I'm going to come down here to test, because that's what I set that up for. I'm sorry, this is driving me crazy. All right. So let me get rid of some of these other chats that I've had in here with him. JD, we are going to have a demo. Treat this like the first time we have used this document. All right. So you see he's pulled my author voice, he has pulled my bullpen. All right, so, and I forgot to show you, give me just a second. Up here in the top right of my screen, see where it says 3 files. I'm going to click on that. It'll show you that I've got my voice template, I've got my Sandpaper, and I've got my bullpen template. So you're going to upload those 3 files at least when you get done. You can put in, if you have a spreadsheet with a list of your characters, you can add that. You can add a previous book if this is a continuation, that kind of thing. Just whatever tools you can give him to make this the best book that you're doing, give it to him. All right, so I'm going to upload a document. It's not a finished document, but this individual was in a war, injured. They couldn't treat him on the battlefield. So they have sent him to a hospital at Ramstein, and that's where you're going to pick up with this one. And come in here. So using Sandpaper, doc, give this a polish and display the changes in bold. So while we're waiting on him to do that, he's reading my document. He's going to go through, he's just going to polish it, and then he's going to show it to me in bold. So I lay back, you see here, yeah, I'm fine is in bold. What do you mean again? These are changes that he is suggesting we do to make it sound better. Now, I may have something close to this. He may have had to put a comma in here. He may have added the word again. Whatever the case is, these are things that he's saying is make it sound better. So I say, okay, yeah, these sound okay to me. Now I'm just using this document for this example. I'm going to tell him apply the changes. And you notice he showed it to me without everything being bold printed this time. All right, so give this to Ricky. Let him know it is not a finished chapter. Okay, so Ricky's gone in and he's telling me what's working. We've got a strong opening beat. The interaction with Cindy humanizes the scene. Introduction of Dr. Moody moves the story forward. Escalation needed. Right now, the chapter feels like setup, fine for a draft, but eventually you'll want to escalate the beat. Transition out. Pacing balance. It's giving me a 6.5 out of a 10. Like I said, it's not a finished chapter. So I'm going to say apply suggestions. And have Yvonne look at it. So he's given Justin a flicker of fear about after his walk, transition out, closing the beat, and layered some sensory detail of the hospital to keep it immersive. Goes through, shows me the changes, and again, I didn't tell him to do the bold I should have here. Yvonne's looking at it. Voice feels warm. Justin's clips, soldierly rhythm comes through. He doesn't ramble. Dr. Moody sounds official but casual. Hell, even the therapist makes him believable. Varies Cindy's cadence. She sometimes slips into generic nurse dialogue. Justin's emotional leak. Right now his voice is steady. Consider giving him a slip, a hesitation, a stutter. Closing beat, final thoughts strong, but maybe have him mutter a line like, not yet. Yeah, I could say do that. So, actually, let's leave Cindy into her nurse's dialogue. So, apply 2 and 3. Now, again, you can go all the way through your bullpen team and have them do that. And then run it through again. Or if you want to see what, okay, so we saw, come back up here, here's Vivian's again. She had 3 of them. Very Cindy's cadence, Justin's emotional leak, and the closing beat. So, oh, this is Yvonne, not Vivian, sorry. And Yvonne, run it again. So, Cindy's flavor, she's still natural in spots, even one line with a bit of sass, like "Don't make me chase you, Sergeant," would give her give her more personality. Dr. Moody's distinction, he's believable. Right now, his tone matches any other doctor. Dialogue flow, the back and forth is natural, but trimming 1 or 2 tags, like "he said," in favor of action beats. Yep, we definitely want to get rid of the he saids and she said. So, apply all and show me in bold. All right, son, I've seen this happen before, but son, get some fight back in you. That counts for something. Now, here in a little bit, somebody's going to pick up on the 2 words son and suggest that I change one of them maybe to sergeant or whatever. That's just part of running through this group. Cindy talking, and "Don't make me chase you, Sergeant." So he's learning how to walk again, and so she's helped him upright, set him in it, get bearings. Okay, start walking down the hall, and "Don't make me chase you." You know, which is kind of a joke. Anyway, that's exactly how I use my bullpen. Once I run it through there, I copy it, or you can have it set you up your own document as a polished document and go from there. So I hope this answers all the questions. I hope this allows you to see how I use my writing team template, how I use my voice template, how I use the sandbox document or text file or whatever you want to call it. It just, all of those play together to give me a document that's really close to how I would normally write anyway. Me personally, I write my chapters, then I put it into my GBT and let them do the editing, make it sound better, more polished. I don't write strictly from AI. I know a lot of people do. If that's you, that's fine. But even if that is you, these documents, the voice, especially the voice template, should help you put out better documents, and the team as well. So I hope you got something out of this. I hope you've enjoyed it. And again, if you do want my files, send me an email. Let me know that you watched the video and that you want the files, and then I will answer you back with a link to my Google Drive, which has all of them. So until next time, if there is a next time, this is Larry. I hope this was informative. Thank you very much.